You want to value judge it? This is a mammal, this has a brain. All right, but have you stopped and thought about what a tree is? And the tree is delivering oxygen to the air cyclically through the seasons that we breathe. And one of the most famous poems ever penned was about trees. So you will not kill an animal to eat it, but you will slaughter all manner of plant life and eat it. So we live on a planet where all animals kill other living things to survive. All animals.
Situation is, you're sat here with an animal which has suffered and died, and all you have to do to not support that industry, all you have to do is do exactly what I'm going to do, which is say, I won't have that, I'll have that. That's all you have to do.
Sure. But there are also other so one of the reasons why I'm quick to address the cow situation is, having lived and grown up on a farm and been around cows and milked cows. Granted, I'm not remotely an animal psychologist. I don't see any of the presentations that we would say, yes, this cow is suffering psychologically in the same way that a human would. I don't see an understanding of moral principles. I don't see a way of expressing it, and I don't know how we dig in on their psychology. I'm not saying we can't. I'm not even saying nobody has. It's entirely possible that somebody has, and I'm just unaware of it.
Right.
My question is, what is it that's true of an animal that, if true of a human, would justify stabbing them to death for a hamburger?
Well, given the nature of what we are as social primates, treating people exactly like livestock has a different consequence on us and on our culture and on our capacity to live with one another than treating livestock like livestock. So it's not precisely the same problem, right? It's impossible to defend factory farming as it is. I mean, knowing the details. I think it's just, we want to solve that problem somehow, right? I happen to think that it's not at all obvious that we can all be vegans and be healthy. Right? We were talking about the problem of being a parent and having vegan or vegetarian kids. Right now, my view of that is that you're running a kind of science experiment on your kids, and it's not totally clear how it's going to come out. Right? And when I've run that experiment on myself, it's, you know, I became anemic when the first time I was a vegetarian for 6 years. All kinds of things go sideways in my blood the last time I did this experiment for a year. And I think there may be another solution. I mean, I'm hopeful that this clean meat revolution that is struggling to be born will be one solution. So there's a company, Memphis Meats, whose CEO I had on my podcast, where they have a meatball that they have engineered that does not entail the death of any animal. And if it's possible to raise livestock under conditions where they are really living lives worth living, right? So that you can really have happy cows or happy ducks or chickens or pigs, which is to say, it would be better for those animals to have been than to not have been. These are net positive lives. Well, then that's a world in which veganism is not actually the most compassionate solution.
Well, I would just answer by saying, don't stab them for the hamburger.
So my question is, since we don't need to consume animal products to survive and be healthy, and since if we do, it creates such an immense amount of suffering, how do you morally justify not being vegan in 2019?
I am not vegan. I am struggling to become so, and in my cooking at home, I am vegetarian. But when I go out to dinner, I don't go out of my way to say I won't eat meat. So I'm kind of on the path, so to speak, and that's as far as I can say.
Right. So what I want to know is, on your view, what is it that's true of animals that, if true of humans, would justify murdering them like this? It's clearly not their. It doesn't seem like it's their cognitive level, because you don't want to murder the disabled. It doesn't seem like it's the fact that it's natural, because you wouldn't say it's okay to murder if it's natural. So I'm just wondering, like, on your view, what actually makes the difference?
I guess that the difference is one of some level of self-awareness and intelligence, I guess, and the fact of causing pain.
But
awareness of what's happening to them.
Singer denounces speciesism and claims that we should show equal respect to the lives of human beings and animals. All three refuse to distinguish between the claim that we have responsibility to animals and the claim that animals have rights. They don't care that animals cannot reciprocate their so-called rights, even though such reciprocity constitutes a cornerstone of the social contract. They think this way because they want to reduce the world to a single dimension of value, that of pity, and to reject the painful and conscious responsibility that judgment demands. Rights are for human beings and for individuals, not for groups, and certainly not for animals.
It's a fact that animals don't have responsibilities. We can't overlook that. You know, vegetarianism or veganism, I think, has a moral basis, but so do lots of other things. Like when you got here, you either drove or took public transportation, meaning you used energy. That harms the environment. You made a choice. Your choice was to harm the environment in order to come here so we could have this discussion. But we're making choices like that every moment of the day. Well, one of the choices has to do with whether people who say in the countries where there is meat but not much else, should they eat it? That's another choice.